Hello everyone, this is part 1 video of review of oscillations topic. Now mostly when you look at the oscillations topic from JEE Mains or JEE Advanced perspective, right? In oscillations we'll talk about the idea of simple harmonic motion. Now the simple harmonic motion concept can be related to even chapters like electrostatics or magnetism. We'll see. Simple harmonic motion is a type of oscillation. We'll talk about what is the condition for the simple harmonic motion and some other parameters related to the simple harmonic motion. Based on that, we will be able to get questions, not just purely based on this oscillation chapter perspective, but also linking this to say electrostatics or magnetism. So we'll come to know about it when we go to those chapters, right? We'll see how the SHM idea, so simple harmonic motion, in short we will call it as SHM. How the SHM idea can be linked to those chapters, we will come to know about it. But first, what is this oscillations? So when you hear the word oscillations, right, I'm sure a lot of us have experienced the swinging, right? So usually when somebody is swinging, you will see another person will keep applying the force in order to sustain the swing. Otherwise what happens, he will swing for a while and then it will almost die down. Why it happens, we will be able to know about it as we go into the discussion of the chapter. Basically the reason for this is the air resistance, which we call as the damping effect. So because of the damping effect, right, the oscillation, so to say, will die down. So what is the oscillations, the moment we hear the word oscillation, what is it that will come to our mind? It is the back and forth motion or to and fro motion. Now we can talk about various other examples. Look at this. There is a ball which is moving between two elevated. So this is an elevated side and this is another elevated side. So there is a dip in between. The ball is moving between the two elevated sides. Again, this is also what to and fro motion. So whenever we see this to and fro motion or the oscillatory motion, there will be something called as a mean position. The oscillations will be happening with respect to the mean position. So from the mean position, the ball, as you can see, it will go to extreme position on this side. There will be two extreme positions and there is one more extreme position on the other side. So this is how we can see the typical oscillatory motion happening. And we can look at other examples also. One very common example that we see is the pendulum bob in the clock, right? It will also perform oscillations. You can see this is what the back and forth motion. But in a while we will see that this is going to be called as the angular oscillations. So here when we want to talk about the movement of the pendulum bob from the mean position, we will try to represent the movement in terms of the angular displacement. That is the reason why we will be calling it as what? The angular oscillations. So if you look at a spring mass system, so we have a mass attached to a spring, we will just pull the mass down or a little bit push it up, then we will see that in the vertical straight line the mass will be going up and down. So this is also what to and fro. Instead, if you keep the spring mass system on a horizontal surface and then let it oscillate, it will have proper to and fro. If you have it on an inclined plane, so all these are the different arrangements. Here also what is going to happen, the mass is going to have to and fro motion but along the inclined plane. Here the to and fro motion happens along the horizontal surface and here it will be happening along the inclined plane. But all these are examples of what? Same, the oscillatory motion of the spring mass system. These oscillations, right, we will be calling it as linear oscillations. I think we can understand why we call them as linear oscillations. Why? Because from the mean position, let's say somewhere here we have the mean position. Okay, so from the mean position, if you want to talk about the displacement of the mass, we will try to give the displacement of the mass in terms of the linear displacement value. That is why the oscillations are called as linear oscillations. So when we talk about the oscillations, we will try to divide them into these two types. One is the angular oscillations and second is the linear oscillations. But the way we'll approach the study of the oscillations will be similar for both of them. So I mean, I've given the common examples that will come to our mind whenever we hear the word oscillations. It is basically the back and forth motion. That is what we'll think of. But what is this oscillations? And again, we said there is a special type of oscillations which we called as simple harmonic motion, or SHM in short. So what is the story of all this? To know the story of all this, right, we should first begin with what is called as the periodic motion. So any motion which is repeating itself after a regular interval of time, right, that is what we call as a periodic motion. So any motion which is repeating, basically the pattern repeats. And we can quote a lot of examples for that. Let's say, for example, there is an insect which is climbing up the ramp and again falling down, assuming it is doing so with a constant velocity. Then as you can see, if you plot the position versus time graph, right, look at here, what is happening? It will be a straight line because we are saying constant velocity. It will come down again, that is also constant velocity, and it will climb back again. So the pattern is repeating. After how much interval it is repeating? That interval, the time interval, is going to be called as the period. So for every periodic motion, right, we will have something called as a period. What is the period? The interval, I mean, instead of saying the interval, right, we should actually say the minimum interval. Why? Because if the motion is repeating after 1 second, means definitely it will repeat after 2 seconds also, and it will be repeating after 3 seconds, like that. So the minimum interval after which the motion repeats, that is what we will call as the period. And we can think of a lot of other examples also. Let's say, for example, there is a child who is climbing up the step and coming down, and basically repeating this identical manner. So as you see, if he is climbing up, means he will come to some height, or basically the position. When he is coming down, means he will come to x is equal to 0. It's basically repeating. The interval after which it is repeating, right, that is what we call as the period. So the thing is, when I talk about the periodic motion, this is a very important thing. There is no condition on the type of function. So as we go into the discussion about the oscillations and other things, right, we will start seeing that there will be some kind of a condition we will put on the type of function that represents the motion. Function means we are talking about the function that represents the displacement. But here, when we talk about the periodic motion, right, there is no condition on the type of function. You can see here, this is what kind of a straight line means, a linear relation will have. This is in mathematics we will call it as a step function. So it can be anything. The displacement of the particle can be described by any function, but it has to repeat after regular interval. That's it. This is what we call as the periodic motion. Now we can look at some more examples. If you have a ball which is bouncing between your hand and the ground, assuming there is no air resistance and the collision of the ball with the ground is basically elastic. Under these assumptions, right, what do we see? The ball keeps bouncing back to the hand. If you look at the motion of the ball, right, the position versus time, because you know, remember, the ball when it is going up or coming down, it will be moving under the acceleration due to gravity effect. So the position versus time will not be a straight line, it will be a non-linear curve, because the function is given by the quadratic equation. Remember, you know, in case of uniform acceleration motion, what is the displacement function? X is equal to what? Ut plus half at square, right? So we are going to be typically having the quadratic relation. When it is going up, means it will be under deceleration, because as it is going up, the acceleration due to gravity will be downwards. When it is coming down, it will be under acceleration, because it is coming down, g is also downwards. So the pattern of the curve will be different. But you see, it is going to repeat, and the interval after which it repeats, right, that is what we will be calling as the period of the periodic motion. Okay, so again, the point is, in a periodic motion, the only thing that we look for is what? The pattern has to repeat, that's it. There is no condition in terms of saying, okay, the function has to be quadratic or function has to be linear. No such condition. The function can be of any type, but it has to repeat the pattern, that's it. Now this is about the periodic motion, and one of the important things about the periodic motion is the period. So what is the period? The regular interval of time after which the motion is repeating, that is what we call as the period. So remember, we can even add this word minimum, the minimum interval after which the motion repeats. So how do we represent this in terms of the mathematical function? If y represents the function for the position of the particle which is in the periodic motion, then small t represents general time. So the position at a general time small t is equal to what? The position of the particle at a time which is equal to t plus this capital T is the symbol that is used for the period, or we can also call it as time period. So we generally represent the time period with what? Symbol capital T. So after capital T interval, it is going to repeat. Not just that, after 2 times capital T also it will be repeating. After, as I said before, right, it is going to repeat after every period value of time. So that is how we look at the periodic motion in terms of how it will be represented as a function. Again, so there is no condition in terms of saying the function has to be a sinusoidal or quadratic. No such condition is there. The only thing is it has to repeat, that's it. Now sometimes we will hear this word frequency. So frequency is related to the period value. So frequency will indicate this with the symbol nu or f. It basically talks about how many times the motion is repeating in 1 second. So how do we get it? Let's say the period is 0.25 seconds. Means if you take a 1 second interval, this is 0.25 seconds. This is another 0.25 seconds. This is another 0.25 seconds. How many times it is basically repeating? 4 times, right? So how do we get this 4 value? It is repeating 4 times per second. So how do we get it? The frequency is nothing but 1 by time period or period value. You can see what is it? 1 by 0.25 seconds means what? 4 per second will come. So the frequency, either you can represent this in terms of SI unit per second, or we can also, the SI unit can be represented as what? Hertz. Symbol capital H, small z. So hertz is basically what? Per second. It is the SI unit. So this is about the frequency of periodic motion. So every periodic motion can be given by this characteristic property. What is it? Period. The reciprocal of period is what we will call as the frequency part. Okay, so this is about the periodic motion, and the thing is the motion has to repeat after the regular interval which we will call as the period. That's it. Now, if you look at the kind of questions that we can expect, so mostly we will get questions from the idea of SHM, but still on periodic motion also we can sometimes expect questions. So if we are expecting questions means it has to come from the idea of this period value. The question has to come from the idea of the period value. Okay, so let's see one sample question. Which of the following functions of time represent a periodic and a non-periodic? So whichever is repeating we call it as what? Periodic. Whichever is not repeating we call it as what? Non-periodic. And whichever is repeating, right, we have to also give what is the period for each of these periodic motion. And in these equations, right, as you can see there is a omega that is coming. So they are saying omega is a positive constant. So generally when you talk about a periodic motion, right, let's say for example we have this simple function sin x. What is the period for this? If you take sine of x plus 2 pi, that will be equal to what? Same as sin x. Means for the function sin x, what is the period value? It is 2 pi. Same goes with cos x also. For cos x, what is cos of x plus 2 pi? That is same as cos x. So the period value for the cos function or sin function is what? 2 pi. Now we'll see, so we are given 4 equations that represent the motion. So when we say they represent the motion means typically they are representing what? The position of the particle that is having the motion. And you can see that all the 4 are in terms of the time. So we'll go with the first one. First function, it has got 2 terms. So there is a term 1 and there is a term 2. So first is what? The first term is the sine omega t. Now we know that every sine function, right, will have a period of what? 2 pi. So if you take sine of omega t plus 2 pi, that is same as what? Sine omega t. So we'll just try to rearrange it a little bit. Just look at it. We'll take omega common. So what we'll have? Sine of omega into t plus something is there. So look at this, the way we have compared, right? So y at a general time t is equal to y at a general time t plus the period value. You can see what is this period value here coming as 2 pi by omega. So for the function sine omega t, what is the period? Sine omega t, the period value is what? 2 pi by omega. Now we'll check the second term here. What is second term? Cos omega t. So the motion is given by equation which has got two terms. First term is what? Sin omega t. Second term is cos omega t. Now as we can see, cos also will repeat with a period of 2 pi. Look at this. Cos omega t plus 2 pi will be what? Cos omega t. Here again we'll try to rearrange. Take omega common. We'll have what? You just look at this in terms of our general representation of the periodic function. What is it? Y at a general time t is equal to y at the general time t plus the period value. So we can see here what is the period value coming here? 2 pi by omega. So cos omega t function also, what is the period? 2 pi by omega. Now when a function is having multiple terms like this, term 1, term 2, the period value of different terms can be different. In this case, what is happening? Both term 1 is having a period of 2 pi by omega, term 2 is also having the period of 2 pi by omega. So the overall function, right, will have a period of how much? 2 pi by omega, because first term will repeat, second term also will repeat after the same interval of 2 pi by omega. Sometimes, so we got the answer for this. What is it? The first equation that they are giving is a periodic function representing equation. That is one, over. Not just that, what is the period value for the 2 pi by omega? As I said, right, sometimes we can have say for example a function is there which is having multiple terms, term 1, term 2, term 3, like that. Term 1 is having a period value of 1 second, term 2 is having a period of 2 seconds, this is having a period of 3 seconds. Means term 1 will repeat after every 1 second, term 2 will repeat after every 2 seconds, term 3 will repeat after every 3 seconds. Now what is the minimum time after which all the terms will repeat? That has to be given by the LCM of all these periods. Simple, right? So if you take LCM of all the period, means look at this, what is the LCM of 1, 2, 3? That is 6. After 6 seconds we will see term 1 repeats, term 2 also repeats, term 3 also will be repeating. So when you have multiple terms with different period values, then what is the idea? The overall period of that entire function will be given by what? The LCM of period values of each of these terms. That's it. Now we have an example also, that second function that is given to us, right? What is second function? Look at this. It has got 3 terms. First term is what? Sin omega t. Second term is what? Cos 2 omega t. Third term is what? Sin 4 omega t. So if you want to know the overall function period, so sin omega t already we have done it, right? So what is the period? 2 pi by omega. That's over. Second term, look at it, cos 2 omega t. So as we said, right, cos 2 omega t will be same as what? Cos 2 omega t plus 2 pi. We will take 2 omega common. So what we will have? Cos 2 omega into t plus pi by omega. So you just compare this with our general periodic motion expression. Function value at a general time t is equal to function value at a general time t plus period. You can look at this. What is the period here? Pi by omega. So sin omega t, that is the first term. What is the period? 2 pi by omega. Cos 2 omega t, what is the period value? Pi by omega. Now we will go for the third term of the function. What is the third term? Sin 4 omega t. The third term of the function is what? Sin 4 omega t, right? So look at this, the third term, right? Sin 4 omega t, the value will be same as what? Sin 4 omega t plus 2 pi. Sin, we will take 4 omega common. We will have what? T plus pi by 2 omega. Now here when you compare this with the general expression, right? So the function value at a general time t is equal to function value at a general time t plus the period. Look at this, what is the period here? Pi by 2 omega. So sine 4 omega t, what is the period here? Pi by 2 omega. Now you look at this 2 pi by omega and pi by 2 omega. What is the LCM of all of them? The LCM is 2 pi by omega. It's like what? 4. 2, 1. What is the LCM of all of them? 4, right? Which means what? The 2 pi by omega will be the LCM of all these period values. So the overall function, which is given by what? Sine omega t plus cos 2 omega t plus sine 4 omega t, right? The overall function, what is the period value for the overall function? It is 2 pi by omega. So we have to take the LCM. Like this is an idea that can be used in terms of framing questions, especially from the JEE mains perspective, right? When you are straight having a question on the periodic function, they can give us the questions like this where they will ask what is the period of the overall function. If you look at the third one, right? So the second function also, what is it? 2 pi by omega. First, what is the answer? Third is what? E power minus omega t. So if you try to express this position, it will be what? Exponentially decreasing or a decaying curve. It will not repeat. It will be what? Non-periodic. Same will be the case of log omega t. So look at it, as t goes to infinity, as t is increasing, log omega t value also will increase. It is just going to keep on increasing. So as t is tending to infinity, log omega t value also will be tending to infinity. So that is also not going to repeat. So both the third and fourth are what? Non-periodic functions. First and second are periodic functions. So in this, the critical idea is what? When you have a periodic function given which is having multiple terms, the overall function period will be given by what? LCM of the periods of all these different terms that are there. That's it. So this is the idea on which we can expect questions, if at all there are questions coming on the concept of periodic motion itself. Okay. Now we got the idea of what is the periodic motion and what is it that we need to look at from the JEE mains perspective, because rarely we might expect questions on this idea from JEE advanced point of view, but in JEE mains level, if you are getting questions, means they can check on this idea of the overall period of a function which is having multiple terms. Sometimes we may even get questions like, they'll give us 4 functions and ask us which is periodic, which is non-periodic. That also can be framed. If you look at the oscillatory motion, it is a special case of the periodic motion. Oscillatory motion also repeats, like all the examples we have seen, right? The swinging, repeating, pendulum bob motion, repeating, spring and mass attached to spring, repeating. So they're all what? Periodic motion. But what is the thing about oscillations? The periodic motion, where the body is having a back and forth repeated motion. It's a periodic motion, but it is happening in which manner? Back and forth manner. And it will be happening about a fixed point which we call as what? The mean position, as we already discussed. So a periodic motion which is going to happen in a back and forth manner about the mean position, right? Where the particle from mean position, it will go to extreme positions on either side and comes back, keeps coming back. This is what we call as oscillatory motion, or in other words, we can also call it as what? Vibratory motion. Now for every oscillatory motion, right? Remember, this is important. So we have the mean position. When the object or particle is moving away from mean position, it is trying to go to the extreme position. There must be a force acting on the particle which is trying to bring it back to the mean position. Otherwise, it will not be coming back. So this force, which always will be acting on the particle, like say for example, the object is moving to the right side, then the force will be acting on the particle to the left, so that it will be always trying to bring the particle back to the mean position. If the particle is going to the left, then the force acting on it will be exactly in the opposite direction, so that it will always try to bring the particle back to the mean position. this force is what we will be calling as the restoring force. So whenever there is an oscillatory motion, this is important. What is the important thing, or we can say requirement for the oscillatory motion? There must be a force acting on the particle which is always trying to bring it back to the mean position. That force is what will be called as the restoring force. So the force that is acting, so there is a mean position. The particle is moving away from mean position, means there will be a force acting on it which tries to bring it back to the mean position. Now the reason or the cause for the force may be different in different cases, but there will be always this force which will try to bring it back to the mean position. Then only the oscillations will sustain. Otherwise the particle keeps on moving away. So for the particle to be in that sustained oscillatory motion, there must be the restoring force. So the restoring force nature is what? It must be always acting towards the mean position. Okay, so this is a very important aspect about the oscillatory motion. So oscillatory motion is a special type of the periodic motion in which the object will be having a to and fro pattern. And what makes this to and fro pattern to happen? The restoring force part. Now here there is one interesting thing. Like if you talk about the oscillatory motion, every oscillatory is periodic because it is going to repeat. But at the same time, every periodic motion is not oscillatory. We can talk about some examples, like if you are having a Earth or any planet which is revolving around the sun, this is also a periodic motion because it repeats. For the Earth, right, how much time it will repeat? After 365 days, the motion is going to repeat. But is this oscillatory motion? No, because there is no to and fro part here. Got it? So every oscillatory motion is periodic. But the vice versa is not true. Every periodic need not be oscillatory. Okay, so this is something that we need to keep in mind. Now, if you look at the oscillatory motion, we are going to classify the oscillatory motion in terms of these two manner. One is the linear oscillations, where from the mean position, let's say from the mean position, if you are trying to study the motion of the object, we will talk in terms of the linear displacement. That's what is the reason why we call it as the linear oscillations. Here as we see, right, from the mean position, if you are trying to understand the motion of the pendulum bob, right, we will try and express this in terms of the angular displacement. That is the reason why we call it as what? The angular oscillations. So in case of the linear oscillations, right, there will be a force acting on the particle that tries to bring it back to the mean position. That's what we call as the restoring force. Here in case of angular motion, right, what is it going to be? It is the restoring torque. Because for the angular motion, right, what drives the, just like the translation motion is driven by force, the angular motion is driven by what? Torque. So there will be a torque acting on the object, which is an angular oscillation, which will try to bring it back. So from the mean position, if the angular displacement is say anti-clockwise, then there will be a torque acting on it which will be exactly in the opposite orientation. That is the clockwise direction. Similarly, if the angular displacement is clockwise, then the torque acting on it will be anti-clockwise. So that always the torque will be acting towards the mean position, or it will try to bring the particle back to the mean position. That torque is what we will be calling as the restoring torque. So in case of linear SHM or linear oscillation, sorry, it is the restoring force. In case of the angular oscillations, it is the restoring torque. Now I use the word SHM because the same rule will be applicable for the SHM also. The only thing is, SHM means an oscillatory motion has to satisfy some conditions to become SHM. What is that condition? We will see that. Okay, so first we will look at what we call as an harmonic oscillation. Oscillation means to and fro motion. Linear oscillation means it is enabled by the restoring force. Angular oscillations means the restoring torque enables the angular oscillations. That is clear. Oscillation motion is a type of periodic motion. So look at this. So we have a general periodic motion, which is nothing but any motion that repeats. A special type of this, where the object is having to and fro or back and forth, that is what we call as the oscillatory motion. This is enabled by what? Either a restoring force or a restoring torque. A special case of this oscillatory motion is what we call as the harmonic oscillations. What is the harmonic oscillations? An oscillation motion which can be expressed in terms of a single harmonic function. So generally we will refer to the sine function or cosine functions as the harmonic function. So if you are able to express the displacement or the position of the particle which is in oscillatory motion by either a single sine or cosine, whichever, such type of oscillations we call them as what? Harmonic oscillations. So you can see here the first equation is what? A sine omega t. You can see there is sine function. Second is what? A plus B sine omega t. So here capital A and capital B, all these are what? These are all constants. So you can see here also what is it? There is a constant plus sine omega t. It's also a harmonic oscillation. Third function, if you see, by the look of it you may think okay there is a sine as well as cos, but if you just little bit modify it, right, just multiply numerator and denominator by root of a square plus b square. So what we will get is, we are just multiplying numerator and denominator by what? Root of a square plus b square. So if we can call a by root a square plus b square as say cos alpha, b by root a square plus b square will become what? Sin alpha. So look at this, how it is: sin omega t cos alpha plus cos omega t sin alpha. Remember we have this trigonometric identity. What is it? Sin of a plus b is equal to what? Sin a cos b plus cos a sin b. So when you apply it, right, what we will have? Root a square plus b square is there already in the front. Then what we will have is sin of omega t plus alpha will come. So you can see now the function is what? Just in terms of the single sine. So all these equations, they represent what? Harmonic oscillations, because the equation of motion of the particle can be given by a single harmonic function, which is either a sine or cosine. So harmonic oscillations are what? They are a type of oscillations where the equation is represented by a single sine or cos function. That's it. Now the simple harmonic motion. So you can see in this, right, the harmonic motion is as it is coming. In addition, we are adding the word simple. So what is this simple harmonic motion or SHM? So first we will begin with the linear case of it. Like the way oscillations, we will talk about what? Linear oscillations, angular oscillations, right? Same here also we will say what? Linear SHM, angular SHM. What is the linear SHM? It is a type of oscillatory motion in which the particle moves to and fro or back and forth. That is there for every oscillatory motion as it is. About a fixed point called as what? Mean position. That is also there. Under a restoring force. Yes, because for oscillatory motion we need to have a restoring force. But this is the important. From here it is the important. The restoring force whose magnitude is directly proportional to the displacement from the mean position. So this is the mean position. From here the particle is reaching here. Let x be the displacement. The restoring force will be, the restoring force value will be directly proportional to the displacement from the mean position. And opposite direction, obviously, because if the displacement is to the right means the restoring force must be acting to the left side, right? Because it will be always trying to take the particle back to the mean position. So if you want to express this in terms of a vector relation, right, we should put a minus. Why? Because if the displacement is given by x bar vector, the direction of the restoring force will be exactly opposite to it. So this is what we call as the simple harmonic motion, the linear type. The linear SHM, right? What is the condition, so to say? Condition of the linear SHM is what? The restoring force should be directly proportional to what? Displacement of the particle from the mean position. Direction is going to be obviously opposite. Why? Because if the displacement is to the right, restoring force will be to the left. Vice versa. If the displacement is to the left, then restoring force will be acting to the right side, because the restoring force always tries to take the particle back to the mean position. So this is what is the condition for the linear SHM. Now, how do we express the equation of the linear SHM? The linear SHM motion of a particle, right? If you are representing the displacement as a function x, which will change with respect to time, it will be given by a sinusoidal function. What do you mean by sinusoidal function? Either we will have it in the pattern like this: a into a is a constant, cos of omega t plus phi. We will talk about what each of these terms will refer to. Or we can also give it like this: a sine of omega t plus phi. When we say sinusoidal function, it can be either a cosine function or a sine function. Now, what is the difference between a harmonic and this one? Harmonic, remember, we've even taken the examples like this: a plus b sine omega t, like that. A constant plus the sine form. But here, the linear SHM, right? The position of the particle has to be given by an equation which is in this format. It will be like what? Always a constant multiplied by what? Either a cos term will come or a sine term in this manner: cos omega t plus phi or sine omega t plus phi. This is what will be the equation that represents the linear SHM of a particle. In this, right, you can see the cos value will vary from where? -1 to +1. So the x value will change from -a to +a. So from the mean position, this is the mean position, right? From the mean position, the particle will be able to go to a displacement to the right side, same a displacement to the left side. Negative is going to indicate what? The direction part of it. Okay. So this a, right, is what we will refer to as the amplitude of the SHM. So amplitude means what? The maximum displacement from the main position. That's it. And omega here will be called as the angular frequency. What is the omega going to be called as? Angular frequency. And if you take this function, right, look at this: a cos omega t plus phi. The function value will be same if you add a 2 pi, because cos theta will be what? Cos of 2 pi plus theta. Already we have seen that. Now we will just try to rearrange it. Cos, just take omega common. We will have t plus 2 pi by omega plus phi. Phi is as it is constant. So if you compare this with our general representation, right, the position at a general time t is equal to what? Position to general time t plus the period. Look at this. What is the period here? 2 pi by omega. So the period value will be given by what? 2 pi by omega. That is the relation between the period and the angular frequency. And whether we have a cosine function or a sine function, right, whatever the value that is there inside the function, like the angle part, the total angle part, that is what we will be referring as the phase, which will be of course depending upon the time. So this phase will be determining what is the position of the particle with respect to time. So the entire motion is governed by what? Phase. And if you put t is equal to 0, put t is equal to 0, in this if you put t is equal to 0 means this will vanish. The phase will be just what? Phi. That is the reason why this phi will be called as the initial phase. We can also call it as what? Phase constant. What is this phi? The initial phase or the phase constant. What it represents? It represents the position of the particle at the starting time, which is t is equal to 0. Okay, so if you go with the initial phase 0, let's just look at this function, right? Put phi 0, then what we'll get? Function as a cos omega t will come. How we can represent this in terms of graphical manner? So you can see here, starting time t0 means what? Cos 0 will be 1. So the x value will be equal to a. Starting from here, we'll have the cosine function. After a time which is equal to t by 4, the x value will become 0. Means what? The particle has come to the mean position. Another t by 4 means we have come to exactly half the period. The particle will go to the other extreme side. Another t by 4, which means we have come to 3/4 of the period. It will again come to the mean position. Another t by 4 time means we have fully come to the period value. We will come back to same starting point. All this we will know by substituting in the given function. So that is how we will be able to see the position of the particle changing with respect to time. And it will be repeating. So this is how we can see the position of the particle with respect to time, how it will be changing. If the initial phase is not 0, phase constant initial phase is not 0, then the pattern will be as it is, the cosine pattern, but it will get shifted. Like say for example, if the initial phase is minus pi by 4, then what we will have a cos the initial phase, right? What is it? Minus pi by 4 will be there, the initial position. So you can see it will be different from the case where we have the initial position as what A in the previous case. Here you can see the black curve, right? That represents the curve for the position of the particle, how it changes with respect to time when you have an initial phase or phase constant as minus pi by 4. Pattern as it is, but the curve gets little bit shifted, that's it. So this is how we will be able to track the position of the particle with respect to time. And this equation, right, the sinusoidal equation is what we call it. Either we will have it like a cos omega t plus phi or a sin omega t plus phi. This is what is the standard equation that represents the linear SHM of the particle. Now, if you are giving the position function, right, the next question is, because it is in motion, we will talk about the velocity. How do you get the velocity? Take a derivative of this function with respect to time. So take a derivative of this a cos omega t plus phi, we take a derivative. A is a constant, comes out. Derivative of cos omega t plus phi. What is the derivative of the cos function? It will be what? Minus sine. Then we will have derivative of omega t plus phi. All these things we have covered in our basic math videos. You can check it. What is derivative of omega t plus phi? That is omega. So which means what? Minus a omega sine of omega t plus phi. So this is what is our velocity function. So you can see here sine will vary from where minus 1 to plus 1, right? So the velocity will change from minus a omega to plus a omega. The minus part will only tell the direction. Like from the mean position, if you are going to the right side means we will take it as what? Positive. Left side means we will take it negative. That's it. So this velocity, right, the maximum on either side is what we call as the Vmax. What is the maximum velocity of the particle which is in SHM? It will be what? A times omega. Now we can also represent the velocity of the particle in terms of the position. How the velocity can be related to the position of the particle. For this, because we have solved the previous question, we have solved, previous statement, right? We have solved by using x is equal to a cos function, right? I will try to solve it by using x is equal to a sine. We can solve it by using either of the forms. So if we take a derivative, right, that will give us the velocity. So take a derivative of this. A is a constant. Derivative of sine omega t plus phi. What is the derivative of the sine function? Cos. Cos omega t plus phi into derivative of omega t plus phi. What is derivative of omega t plus phi? That is omega. So what is it? A omega cos omega t plus phi. This is our velocity. Now here we can just do some rearrangement, because cos theta can be always written as what? 1 minus sine square theta. So just write it. So a omega root of 1 minus sine square omega t plus phi. We will take a inside, it will become a square. A square minus a square sine square omega t plus phi will come. What is this a sine omega t plus phi x, right? So this is what? X square. So finally what we'll have is, this is the relation. V is equal to what? Omega into root of a square minus x square. So here we can see one thing. Then so this is the relation, we can keep a note of it. The relation between what? The velocity of the particle and the position. So V is equal to what? Omega into root of a square minus x square. If you are at the mean position, so we will try to analyze this expression now. If you are in the mean position, So if we are in the mean position, right, mean position means what? The displacement is 0, because always we will measure the displacement from the mean position, right? Mean position means x is equal to 0. Put x is equal to 0 here. The v will be coming as what? Omega into root of a square, means either we will say plus a omega or minus a omega. So at the mean position, the velocity of the particle will be maximum. It will be either moving toward the right side or to the left side. At the extreme position, x will be equal to what? Plus or minus a. So in this, if you substitute, means what you will get? Omega into root of a square minus a square, that is 0. So when the particle is going to the extreme position, right, what will be the velocity of the particle? It will be 0. So at the mean position, the particle will have maximum velocity. When it is going to the extreme position, the particle velocity becomes what? 0. So this is how the velocity of the particle in SHM is going to change. Now if you try to understand this, let's say we will go with this function a cos omega t, where we are taking that initial phase or phase constant is what? 0. Starting where we will be at, if you put t is equal to 0, means what we will have? X will be equal to a into cos 0 is 1, that is a. This is where we will start. By t by 4, 1/4 of period, we will come to the mean position here. Mean position means we will have the velocity maximum. It is going to the left. In another t by 4 time, which means now total time is what? T by 2. We would have come to this extreme, other extreme position, minus a. In another t by 4 time, now the total time will be what? 3t by 4. We would have again come to mean position. In another t by 4 time, now the total time is what? Period. We will come back to the same starting point. So this is the starting point, right? We have come back here. And now the motion repeats. In another t by 4 time means what? Again we will come back to the mean position, like this you can see. So this is how the motion of the particle in SHM is going to change. Now the thing is, when we talk about the SHM or simple harmonic motion, we have said the restoring force should be proportional to what? Displacement, but minus should come. Minus indicates what direction? The same thing we will try to look at in terms of what is the condition in acceleration. So this is what we will be generally referring to as what? The condition for the SHM. So if you take this either the cosine function we can take or sine function, from both of them we are going to get the same condition. If you look at it, right, x is equal to what? A cos omega t plus phi. You take a derivative of this, already we got it, minus a omega sine omega t plus phi. This is the velocity. If you take a derivative of the velocity, that is what is going to give us the acceleration part. So take a derivative of the velocity, minus a omega sine omega t plus phi. So minus a omega is a constant. Derivative of sine function is what? Cos. And then we will have, of course, derivative of omega t plus phi. What is the derivative of omega t plus phi? Omega will come. So overall what we will have? Minus a omega square into cos omega t plus phi. Here you see what is a cos omega t plus phi, that is x. So minus omega square into x. So what is this? This is what we will refer to as the condition of the SHM, the linear SHM basically. Okay, so what is it? The acceleration should be like what? Minus omega square into x. Same relation we will get if you go with this equation also. Doesn't matter. If you take that equation, take a derivative 2 times. So acceleration dx by dt will be what? Velocity. Second derivative means how do we represent this mathematically? We will call it as what? D square x by dt square. Again, check on our basic math videos. The second derivative is represented in what manner? D square x by dt square. That is going to be the acceleration part. So the standard equation of the SHM is what? Acceleration of the particle in SHM is equal to what? Minus omega square into x. This is how we will have the standard equation of the SHM. If you multiply both sides with mass, what is the left side? If you multiply with mass means what is mass into acceleration? Force. Force is equal to what? Minus m omega square into x. That is the reason why you can see here force is proportional to what? Minus x. Force is proportional to what? Minus x. This is where we began, right? Our discussion about the SHM has begun from that relation. So force directly proportional to displacement value but opposite in terms of direction. Okay, so this is what we will be referring to as the condition of the linear SHM. Now, what will be the condition in terms of the angular SHM? The condition in terms of the angular SHM will be very similar. The only thing is linear motion means we will talk about the linear displacement and linear acceleration. Angular SHM means what? We will talk about the angular displacement and angular acceleration. So the relation will be just similar. So the standard equation of SHM in linear case, right? What is it? Acceleration is equal to what? Minus omega square into x. Whereas when it comes to the angular SHM, the standard equation will be alpha. Alpha is what? The angular acceleration will be equal to minus omega square into theta. Theta is what? Angular displacement. We'll have analogous relation. Now, this standard equation, right, will also help us in finding the period value. Why? Because if you are getting the omega means from here we can find the period, right? What is the period value? 2 pi by omega. Period value is what? 2 pi by omega, right? So this is about the condition of an SHM, or we can call it as the standard relation for the SHM, both the linear part as well as the angular part. Okay. Now we look at a question to prove why this function, what is the function given to us? A sine square omega t. It is a periodic, harmonic, but not SHM. This function, right, it is what? It's periodic. I mean, we have to prove it. And it is also harmonic, but not SHM. How do we do it? Let's say, for example, we look at this function A sine square omega t. Remember, the sine square theta, right, can be always written as 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. This we will have to check the trigonometric identities. So just substitute it. 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. So what is it? A by 2 minus A by 2 cos of 2 omega t. Now this, right, you can see the cos 2 omega t, already we have seen this in one of the previous questions. It will have a period which is equal to pi by omega. In that, 3 terms periodic function example, right? Same thing we had, cos 2 omega t term, which means this function, right, is going to be what? Periodic, with a period of what? Pi by omega. Not only that, look at this, right? This function is having just the variable part is in terms of the cos. So hence it is what? It is also harmonic. Remember, what is the condition for the harmonic? The overall function should be represented in terms of a single, either sine harmonic or the cos harmonic form. That's it. So this is also what? A harmonic. But why it will not be a SHM? Look at this. What is the function we said? X is equal to what? A by 2 minus A by 2 cos of 2 omega t. If you take a derivative of this, what is it? The derivative of A by 2 0 minus A by 2. Derivative of cos is what? Sine, minus sine. Derivative of 2 omega t will come into. So minus minus becomes what? Plus. So A by 2 sine 2 omega t. What is the derivative of 2 omega t? That is 2 omega. So 2 gets cancelled. A omega sine 2 omega t. So this is the velocity. If you take one more derivative, that is what? The acceleration part. Take a derivative of this. A omega is constant. Derivative of sine 2 omega t. Derivative of sine is what? Cos. So we'll have A omega cos 2 omega t into derivative of another 2 omega t will come. I'll just rewrite it again. If you are simplifying, right, see, the more comfortable you are in terms of these basic differentiation, etc., you will feel that much ease in terms of approaching these kind of questions. So look at this, where we are in the final step of getting the acceleration function, right? What is the acceleration function? A omega cos 2 omega t into what is the derivative of 2 omega t? That is 2 omega. So 2a omega square cos 2 omega t. This, right, cannot be written like, what is the standard equation of the SHM? We should have it like what? Acceleration proportional to minus x. What is the standard equation of the SHM? We should have it like what? Acceleration proportional to what? Minus x. Means it should be like what? something into minus x, like that should come. But what is the x value for us? X is equal to what, this, right? What is x value for us? A by 2 minus a by 2 cos 2 omega t. We will not be able to write acceleration like what? Some constant into minus x, like that we cannot write. So which means what? The function is not satisfying the SHM condition. That's why we cannot call it as an SHM. So for the SHM, right, what is the condition we should always satisfy? The condition should be what? Acceleration should be like what? Proportional to minus x in case of the linear SHM. Okay. Angular SHM means alpha. The angular acceleration should be proportional to what? Minus theta. That is the condition for the angular SHM part. So the function given to us, right, is periodic. It is harmonic but not SHM. Okay. Look at this one. The Fx equation means force with the position of a particle in SHM is given by this. F plus 4x is equal to 0. Here F is in Newton, x is in meter. Everything is in terms of the SI unit. Mass of the body is 1 kg. Find the time period of oscillations. So if you look at this equation, right, we can read it like this. F is equal to what? Minus 4x. Force means what? Mass into acceleration, right? What is the mass they are giving us? 1 kg. Means here 1 will come. So acceleration is equal to what? Minus 4x. Compare this with our standard SHM equation. Everything is in terms of the SI unit. So here if you compare, right, straight away we are getting what? Omega square is equal to what? 4. From here, what is the omega value? 2. Which means the period value. They are asking us the period, right? What is the period value? 2 pi by omega. So which is what? 2 pi by 2. That is what? Pi. Everything is in terms of SI unit, means period will be in terms of the unit seconds. Correct. So the period will be what? Pi seconds. We can say 3.14 approximately. Okay. So like this, when the SHM function is given to us either in terms of the force or acceleration form, by comparing this with the standard SHM equation, right, we can find what is the omega value. From there we can find what is the period. Look at another one. The maximum acceleration of particle in SHM is 16 centimeter per second square. And the maximum velocity is what? 8 centimeter per second. From this we have to find the period of oscillations. See, what is the acceleration function? We said minus omega square into x. When the acceleration will be maximum? When x is either plus a or minus a, right? That is when the acceleration, we can say maximum value. Just the magnitude, right, will be equal to what? Omega square into a. What is the velocity maximum value? We have seen this before. That is a omega. This they are saying is what? 16 centimeter per second. This they are saying is what? 8 centimeter per second. If you divide both of them, right, divide them, what we will get? Omega gets cancelled. So left side will have omega, right side is what? 16 by 8, that is 2 centimeters. Okay, that gets cancelled. So it will be what? 2 per second. Ideally it should be what? Radians per second, because it is the SI unit. That is the omega value. Omega value is coming as what? 2 in terms of SI unit. If omega is 2, then what is the period? So 2 pi by 2, that is what? Again same thing, pi in terms of seconds, which is like what? We can say approximately 3.14 seconds. That is the period. So remember here, what is the idea that is used? The maximum acceleration and the maximum velocity functions. What is the maximum acceleration? Omega square into a. What is the maximum velocity? A omega. Now when you look at a particle which is in uniform circular motion, let's say we have a particle which is in uniform circular motion, it will go in a circular path with that angular velocity omega. If the initial position of the particle is given by the angular position phi, then the angular position at a time theta, at a time t is given by what? Omega t plus phi. So here the x coordinate of the particle location will be given by what? If a is the radius of the circle, a cos theta, which is what? A cos omega t plus phi. The y coordinate, right, will be given by what? A sin theta, which is what? A sin omega t plus phi. Means if you look at the x coordinate of the particle, that is given by what? A cos omega t plus phi. The y coordinate is given by what? A sin omega t plus phi. Remember, no, both these equations represent what? SHM equations, right? Either you have the form like A cos omega t plus phi or A sin omega t plus phi. They represent as what? The SHM equations. So the uniform circular motion of an object, if you try to see how the x coordinate of the particle is changing or the y coordinate is changing separately, those equations represent what? SHM equations. That is what we will see as the relation between the SHM and the uniform circular motion of the object. Now if you look at the particle in SHM, obviously we are talking about the velocity. So if you take a derivative of this, what we got? Remember, minus a omega sine of omega t plus phi. This is the velocity, right? V. The kinetic energy k of the particle will be given by what? Half mv square. Means we have to half into m into square of this. A square omega square sine square omega t plus phi. This is what is the kinetic energy. So if you see the kinetic energy, sine square function is there. What is that? Sine square function is there, which means the kinetic energy will be varying from where? The sine square function will vary from 0 to 1, which means the kinetic energy will be varying from 0 to half m omega square into a square. So the minimum kinetic energy will be 0, maximum kinetic energy will be what? Half m omega square into a square. Now when the kinetic energy is changing, what is happening to the energy? It's not like energy is lost, because it's in SHM means what? After some time it will come back to the previous, it will be repeating, right? So when the kinetic energy will be maximum, we said velocity will be maximum at the mean position. So kinetic energy also will be maximum at the mean position. So as the SHM is happening, the energy will change its form from the kinetic energy to the potential energy. Energy will not be lost. Assuming there are no damping forces, energy will not be lost. The energy will be changing from kinetic energy form to the potential energy. Potential energy means we can have various types. We can have the spring potential energy, or we can have the gravitation potential energy. Various forms it can take, but it will change its form from kinetic energy to a potential energy form. And as the motion is progressing, right, we will see that the energy will be interchanging between the kinetic energy form and the potential energy form. So if you look at the other expression for the velocity, right, what is the other expression for the velocity? Omega into root of a square minus x square. If you use this, right, the kinetic energy will be given by what? Half m into v square, means omega square into a square minus x square. This is like what? Half m omega square a square minus half m omega square into x square. This is the kinetic energy. So at the extreme position, when the velocity becomes 0, kinetic energy will become what? 0. At the mean position, the kinetic energy is maximum. What is the maximum value? So look at this. What is the kinetic energy maximum value? Half m omega square a square. What is the kinetic energy minimum value? 0. Which means that when the kinetic energy is becoming 0, the entire energy is getting converted into potential energy form. When the kinetic energy is maximum, means the total energy must be coming back to the kinetic energy form. So if you look at this relation, right, so this is what we'll look at as the total energy. From there, if you subtract, this is the potential energy, half m omega square x square. That will give us what? Kinetic energy at a given instant. So these equations are important, the kinetic energy equation and the potential energy equation. So we'll just rewrite them one more time so that we can make a note of it. What is the total energy of the particle in SHM? Assuming there are no damping forces, what is the thing we are saying? Total energy will be remaining constant. So what is the total energy value? Total energy will be what? Half m omega square into a square. That is total energy. Kinetic energy will be given by what? Half m omega square a square minus half m omega square into x square. Potential energy is what? Half m omega square into x square. So if you want to plot it in terms of graphical representation, that is how we can plot. At the mean position, this blue color is what? Kinetic energy. Mean position, kinetic energy maximum. Potential energy is the black curve. That is what? 0. Extreme position, either this side or this side. Kinetic energy 0, potential energy maximum. But overall, if you look at it at any instant, when you add both kinetic energy plus potential energy, what is the total energy value? It will be remaining constant. Add both of them, add these two, what will get? Total energy will come. half m omega square a square. Assuming there are no damping effect, the total energy, which is half m omega square a square, will remain constant in the simple harmonic motion. So this is about the energy of the particle in SHM. So at the mean position, the total energy will be in the form of kinetic energy. At the extreme position, total energy will be in the form of potential energy. The nature of the potential energy might be different. Some cases we may have a spring potential energy, some cases we may have a gravitation potential energy, like that. Okay, but the overall potential energy will be the form in which the energy will exist in the extreme position. Mean position means potential energy will be 0, total energy will be in the form of kinetic energy. Okay, so these equations we have to keep in mind, because sometimes we may get questions based on these equations also. Okay, so just to summarize what we have seen in case of the SHM, if you are giving the displacement as a function, the standard SHM equation, a cos omega t plus phi, how the displacement will vary? Minus a2 plus a. Velocity function is what? Minus a omega sin omega t plus phi. How the velocity will vary? Plus a omega to minus a omega. That is what we call as the Vmax. What is the Vmax value? A omega. Acceleration, minus a omega square into cos omega t plus phi. This is what we can see. Acceleration is equal to what? Minus omega square into x. You can see the acceleration function will be changing from where? Plus a omega square to minus a omega square. So what is the acceleration maximum value? A omega square. The velocity can be also expressed in terms of the position. This is the form, right? V is equal to what? Omega into root of a square minus x square. Same as per this also, right? The velocity will be 0 when x is equal to plus or minus extreme position. At the mean position, velocity will be what? Maximum, either plus a omega or minus a omega. Mean position, from here it is going to the right, means we will take it as what? Plus a omega. Left means we will take it as what? Minus a omega. Acceleration displacement relation is what? A is equal to minus omega square into x. This is what we call as the standard SHM equation, the linear case. So you can see at the mean position, means x is equal to 0. What is the a value? 0. At the extreme position, okay, when x is equal to plus or minus a, then what is the acceleration value? Acceleration will be equal to what? Plus or minus omega square into a. So at the extreme position, velocity 0. At the extreme position, acceleration will be maximum. Mean position, velocity maximum, acceleration 0. Okay, so this is about the summary of whatever the relations we have seen in case of the SHM. Now we'll wind up with this, the part 1. In second part, what we'll do is we'll start with the different examples of particles that will perform SHM, and we'll try to analyze each and every example, right? We'll try to analyze how it is becoming SHM and what are the things we have to study. Also, we'll cover the, because in the discussion, right, oscillations, we said that the air resistance and all these things are neglected, but practically what happens, air resistance will be there. That will create the damping effect. So we'll also talk about the damping effect and something which we call as the forced oscillations and the concept of resonance. So all that we'll cover in the second part of the video.